A beautiful day to you, my wonderful students. How are you today? It is nice to have you on this learning platform once again to rub minds together and learn. I'm sure you are seated quietly with writing material and you are ready for class. Today, we'll be considering literary appreciation. I remain Dapo Odumoloye. A brief look at our learning objectives. Number one, at the end of this class, we're able to define literary appreciation. Number two, at the end of this class, we also discuss means of literary criticisms in literature. Number three, we also explain some figures of speech because they are very key to literary appreciation. And number four, we able to criticize a literary work effectively. We able to criticize literary work effectively. So our last assignments, I told you to go and state the meaning of the following lines of poetry. Couplet is 3 lines, couplet is 2 lines, triplet 3 lines, a quatrain is 4 lines, a quatrain is 5 lines, sextet is 6 lines, septet is 7 lines, octave is what? 8 lines, spectre is 9 lines, desiane is 10 lines, rondel is 12 or 13 lines. These are things you should try and know for future purpose, need them for future purpose. Then to what we have for the day. Literary appreciation means to find out, to appreciate a literary piece, such as your prose, your poetry, or drama, and it's a kind of practical criticism, says that you evaluate a work carefully using what? Figures of speech, trial devices, linguistics elements, all within the literary text. You evaluate a work critically using all I've mentioned here. That is what literary appreciation is all about. You want to evaluate the work and possibly score it. Call it score it, yes, score it. Then these are things it gives you the ability to do when you appreciate a work literally. You gain pleasure from understanding such a work. You understand these are the skills you need. You understand the value and importance of literature before you can appreciate a work literally. You must have knowledge of all this before you can appreciate a work literally. Then let's see some literary appreciation skills that you need. Number one, you must know how to read a work critically. You read a text critically. Then you employ an active approach to the text. You are actively reading the text. Then you are able to evaluate and question the text as you read it. And lastly, you focus more on what the author means than what he is saying. These are the skills you need to evaluate a text. Literally, you have to acquire these skills, and these are things you gain. You acquire these skills by reading text, by reading books. You don't acquire these skills by just sitting down and watching. Then they also include the following: verbalizing emotional responses. You identify characters, you identify sensory impression, can be that of hearing, that of smell, that of taste, and the likes. Then you understand figures of speech, figurative languages. You identify the mood and tone of the writer. Then you learn to enjoy the humor of the writer. And lastly, you do the normal appreciation for poetry, which is the most complex part of literature. Very complex, like I told you, very complex. Then let's see common terms that are used in literary appreciation. Common terms that are used. The first one is a satire. It's a play, a novel, or a poem that is meant to mock weakness or flaws in the society. It satirizes, it mocks, it What it does is that it corrects the vices and evil in society in a comical way. It corrects the ills and evil in society in a comical way. Like I said, there, it's set to improve bad behavior through sarcasm and irony. It corrects them ironically in a comical way through sarcasm. When somebody has done something bad, and it's a person well done, you can do better. You are when you say it will determine if you are trying to encourage him or her to do more of it or to stop doing it. That's what satire is all about. It corrects ills in society in a comical way. The next is a rhetorical question. This is meant to search your conscience. It's a question that doesn't derive answer. You see it here, a question which does not in reality seek an answer, but emphasize a certain point. It is meant to emphasize a point and make you think twice. You set your conscience. It is not meant to ask for response. You don't need a response. Why would anyone do such a thing? You don't want to know. You want it to search their mind and determine that in their mind. And like I have it here, it's a question that you don't need a response to. Number one here can be used to make a point. You want to make a point, use the question. Then you want to introduce a topic. What do you think we should study? Then you start telling them the importance of studying. There you have introduced a topic using a rhetorical question. Then we have the figures of speech, figurative language. This has to do with your. There are majorly five. There are four rather. There are four. There are four figures of speech that we use in this adaptation. We have the simile, the metaphor, the personification, and the hyperbole. They are used in figurative analysis of a work of art. We all know what a simile is. Use of as and like, as and like. Metaphor is direct comparison. Then oxymoron, that not personification. Oxymoron is when you feature two contrasting words. You place two contrasting words side by side. The woman is pretty ugly. That's wonderful. The hyperbole is over exaggeration. You oversay something. My granddad is as old as time. These four figures of speech are used in literary appreciation. We also have the issue of plots and how characters are presented, which we call characterization. Plot, like I said in subsequent class, former class, is the sequential arrangement of events, how events are arranged. Plots at times might not be simple. Linear is when you go from beginning to the end, to the beginning to the end. Some choose their own, some start from the beginning, from the end. I told you, they now do flashback to bring back previous action, linking them up to make a plot. So the arrangement of events in a work of art is plot. Then this characterization is how characters are presented. How characters are presented to the audience. And they are presented in the following ways. Number one, they are presented in the way they speak, what they speak, their speech. Somebody's speech, somebody's way of speaking will tell you more about the person. So what they want him or her to say in a play will tell you more about him. The action, the way he behaves in such a play, in your write-up, will tell the audience the way you want them to see the character. Then the appearance. When you see a doctor in a work of art, even without seeing a doctor, when they are described, you know this is a doctor. The appearance also tells you about how characters are presented. Then others, what people say about them, and their environmental factor also determines how they are presented in a work of art. Then lastly is flashback. This is used in your plot to draw back past incidents. It is used to shed light on the present happening, drawing back past incidents. They provide information about the present by going into the past. They go to the past to shed light. Mostly in cartoons, you see the kind of thing. One is thinking of the past, one is flashing back. This indicates the use of flashback in a cartoon or in a comical book. This is what they use. This symbol, I try to bring the symbol so you can flash back to your nursery school days and primary school days when you read books and you see this kind of thing. So the kind of thing you keep wondering what is it. It is a symbol for flashback. And before I go, let's do a brief summary of everything I've said so far. Literary terms are very, very crucial. It is the most important means of evaluating any work of art because they sum up this emotion and vision and nature of everything you want to evaluate. And literary terms have the power to create serious comic or whimsical moods through tools of persuasion, poetism, and wordplay. All these are things we'll consider more in next class. So literary terms are very crucial in literary evaluation. There's no way we can evaluate a work of art well without literary terms. Against next class, please try and lay your hands on these reference materials. Lay your hands on them. Exam Focus is readily available for you. You can Google others and get them. Read through them. Learn more about literary appreciation through them. Then these assignments are very important, although I'll be dwelling more on them next class. Before then, go back home and look for the meaning of all these terms that are used in literary appreciation: foreshadowing or projection, point of view, climax, sound and rhythm, wordplay, style, and lastly diction. Please go through them this next class so that it will be so you'll be more familiar with it when I discuss them next class. So we'll see against next class. Keep studying, do my assignments, don't relent, and very soon you will see yourself becoming a much more better student. I love you all. Keep safe.